Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Philip and I'm a photographer based in the Midwest. And on this channel we talk about nature, traveling, and photography and how those go together. And in this video I'm going to show you how to put together a panorama in Lightroom. Okay, so first off, if you're not aware, a panorama is a elongated photo that is created by putting several photos together. You take these several photos out in the field and then you come home on the computer and you use software. I personally use Lightroom to put those photos back together to make one solid image. Now, typically you can take your phone, and all phones nowadays pretty much have this option. You can just kind of scan across the field and it'll do the panel for you. However, you are limited to your resolution and editing capabilities when you do that. So I'm assuming since you clicked on this video that you are at least a somewhat seasoned photographer and you are looking for a way to put some panoramas together. For me, a panorama is kind of like a photographer's snapshot, right? So, and why I say this is like the photographer's snapshot is because it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort, I guess, once you kind of know how to put things together into the computer. But I'm going to jump out to past Philip on my last road trip out in Colorado, and we're going to talk about some of the few key things to think about when you're out in the field when you want to take a pano. So let's go do that. Okay, so I'm out here in the field at this absolutely stunning viewpoint that I have behind me, and we're gonna do a pano today. So first things first, if you're gonna do a pano, you definitely need a tripod. And not only that, but you are going to need some way to make sure that that tripod is level. Having the tripod level is going to help you out when you get in post so that the stitch doesn't become very wonky. So anything that has like a bubble, if you have a tripod that has a bubble level on it, great, but they also make bubble levels that attach to your hot shoe, so you can use that. So quick setup, I have the Nikon D7200 with the Tamron 70-210 f4 lens on it. I am about at a 200th of a second shooting at f8. So what I did is I kind of picked out my shot, got it lined up, and what I did is I waited for the clouds to come in. As you see, there's a lot of clouds, to get some diffused light. And once you kind of have your shot lined up, you wait for the right lighting conditions and you take a photograph and then you move it so that half of the old photograph is still in the new one. And I'll cut back and show you what I mean in the studio. But as long as half of the old photo is in the new photo, you shouldn't have any issues stitching. So you just take each shot until you have your full frame in, and you always want to have a little bit on your edges just in case you have any issues with cropping or anything like that. That's pretty much it. One more tip out here in the field is that if you grab an L bracket, those are super helpful, because what happens is not only are you making sure that the tripod is level, but you're also making sure that the tripod is rotating on the same axis, which again helps you when you get back in post so that your stitch stays correctly. So back to the studio. Okay, so now that we've gone over some tips and tricks to kind of help you out in the field come back home and have a successful editing process, let's go ahead now and jump into Lightroom and get started, shall we? Okay, so I'm in Lightroom now and I have the 7 images that I used or that I took out in the field to help me create this pano. And to backtrack a little bit, if you remember, I'll show you that from here, from photo to photo, there is a small amount of the last photo, about 50%, I guess it's not a small amount, but whatever, 50% of the last photo is in the photo after it, and then so on and so forth. So as you look through this panel here from image 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 and 7, that part of the image before it is also in that photo, and that's going to help the computer. So to go ahead and do this, we are going to click on the first photo and then press shift, and that is going to select all of our photos. And then we're going to right click and then go to photo merge in your menu options, and then we're going to go down to panorama. Now the quick way is Control M or Command M if you use a Mac, but we're just going to go ahead and click on it, wait to let it load and do its thing. So it's going to take a second to load, but right now we can talk about the different types of projections you can use. So there's spherical, cylindrical, and perspective. I usually end up using cylindrical, but you can kind of play around with each and see how they're going to work for you. Cylindrical for me just works 9 out of 10 times with all the ones that I do. And you'll see there's a little bit of an edge, kind of there's some whiteness on the edge, and that's okay, that usually happens. You can either click this fill edges button, and sometimes that works. That does kind of like a content aware fill kind of thing. First of all, we're going to take off auto settings because we want to edit it ourselves, and there's no reason to edit the photo before you go ahead and do the merge, because it's going to merge into a DNG file, which is basically just for this purposes, it's just a very, very large raw file. So you don't need to edit first thinking that you're going to lose your editing latitude from shooting in RAW. That's not necessary. So you can use your boundary warp to help fix that. As you see, that works pretty well. Or if you take that off, you can also use your fill edges option. That looks pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and merge that file. And now we're just going to wait for Lightroom to do its thing and load it. And while we're waiting for that to load, let's just go ahead and ask the question of the video. Have you ever done a pano before? What are your thoughts on panos? And what is your workflow with panos? Do you do it the same way that I do? Do you do it a different way? Obviously, there's more than one way to do this. So if you have any tips or tricks that you want to go ahead and put down in the comment section, go ahead and do that. And also, if you are getting value out of this video, go ahead and leave a like. I would appreciate it. Okay, so you'll see here now that the pano has gone ahead and stitched, and it looks really good. It's straight, first of all, and again, that comes back to your preparation in the field. My horizon line is straight. There aren't any like wonky kind of edges, and I'm gonna go ahead and edit this how I would like. I'm not gonna show that process because that's just not the scope of this video. I will go ahead and show the edited photo at the end though. However, that's basically my main process with panos. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you have any questions about any of the gear or any of the other process here on the computer, just go ahead and leave them down below and I'll get back to you. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.